Welcome to the deep dive. If you've been paying attention to, well, pretty much anything lately, news, social media, you know the information landscape feels volatile, fast, sometimes weaponized.
Absolutely. It's a challenging environment.
So today, our mission is to cut through some of that noise. We're diving deep into the Resist 3 framework.
That's right. It's a systematic six-step approach. It's really designed to help organizations, even governments, build resilience against these kinds of information threats.
Resilience, that feels like the right word, not just defense.
Exactly, because plain defense just isn't enough anymore. I mean, think about AI generating convincing deepfakes almost instantly, or organized groups spreading really nuanced, deceptive stuff at incredible speed.
Yeah, the scale is daunting.
Right. So resist moves us beyond just, scrambling when a crisis hits. It's about building those institutional muscles, the ability to withstand threats, adapt, and recover quickly. It's about being proactively prepared, not just reactive.
I like thinking of it as a kind of systematic fire drill, but for communications.
That's a great analogy.
Standardized processes for checking for hazards, a clear map for what to do, and then, importantly, a review after the drill. So if a threat pops up, everyone knows their role.
That's exactly the idea. The framework has 6 steps, moving logically from recognizing a threat, analyzing it, responding, and then learning from it.
Can you list those steps quickly?
Sure. It starts with recognize the threat itself, then establish early warning systems. Next, generate situational insight. After that, conduct an impact analysis, then plan your strategic communication. And finally, crucially, you need to be tracking effectiveness.
Okay, a lot to unpack there. And as we talk about building this kind of structural defense, it strikes me that it's not just about comms planning, is it?
No, absolutely not.
It requires solid security, privacy foundations, compliance protocols. The whole organizational bedrock needs to be strong.
Precisely. Which actually brings us to our sponsor. We're grateful for their support because they provide resources essential for building exactly those secure and compliant environments that really underpin a process like Resist.
Right. So if you're looking for resources for security, privacy, or compliance planning, you can find them at www.cisomarketplace.com, www.myprivacy.blog, and www.compliancehub.wiki. Definitely worth checking out.
Indeed.
Okay, let's dive into that first pillar, recognize. Before we can counter anything, we have to know what we're actually dealing with. We hear terms like misinformation, disinformation, often lumped together as MDM. What are the key distinctions we need to get straight?
It's a really important distinction, and it often comes down to intent. Not just the content, but why someone shared it. So we break MDM into 3 types.
Okay.
First, there's misinformation. This is basically the most benign type. It's false information, sure, but it's shared without any intent to mislead. Think of it as an accidental error. Someone misreads a headline, shares it thinking it's true.
Right, an honest mistake. So maybe just correcting the facts is enough there.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
But then things get more serious with disinformation. Here, the information is false, and it's shared with the specific intent to deceive. The creator is malicious. They stand to gain something, maybe financially, politically, socially, if you believe the lie.
That's deliberate deception.
Exactly. But then there's the third category, which can be, well, arguably the trickiest, malinformation.
Let's focus there for a second. The source material really flags this one. It's not about making things up entirely, is it?
No, and that's what makes it so insidious. Malinformation uses information that's true, or at least partially true, but deliberately twists it. Takes it out of context, misrepresents stats, basically uses reality itself to support a false interpretation.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say an agency releases data showing, I don't know, a tiny 1% rise in some minor violation, just normal statistical noise maybe. A malicious actor grabs that true data point but frames it as a catastrophic failure or a cover-up. They use that grain of truth to fuel some completely unrelated conspiracy. The number itself is real, but the conclusion, the intent, that's malicious. It weaponizes reality.
Wow. Yeah, that makes countering it much harder. You can't just shout, that's fake. You have to rebuild the whole context.
Precisely.
So, okay, we have an idea of the type of MDM lying, twisted truth. How do we spot the more subtle red flags in the message itself? The behavioral signs. That's where the first indicators come in, right?
Yes, FIRST gives communicators a standard checklist. It helps assess the characteristics of the message and its delivery, looking for signs of manipulation.
Okay, walk us through those 5 first indicators. I'm particularly interested in ones like symbolism and technology. They seem less obvious.
Sure. So FIRST stands for, first, F is for fabrication. This is maybe the most straightforward looking for altered content. forged documents, deepfake audio, maybe falsified citations in a report.
Okay, manipulated content.
Then S is for identity. Checking for disguised or misleading sources. Is an account claiming to be, say, a legit news source, but its behavior is erratic, or maybe anonymous accounts suddenly acting in concert? Does the source identity seem off?
The source seems suspicious. Got it.
R is for rhetoric. Identifying aggressive, inflammatory language. Stuff designed to bypass rational thought and just provoke an immediate emotional reaction.
Anger, fear,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Exactly. Now, S is symbolism. This one is subtle. It's when data or historical events or cultural symbols are sort of hijacked for a totally unrelated goal.
Oh, so.
Think about using an isolated historical example, completely stripped of its context, to justify some modern political claim or even a conspiracy theory. It's like weaponizing history or culture itself.
Ah, I see. Taking things out of context to fit a narrative.
Precisely. And finally, T is for technology. Recognizing techniques that exploit platform mechanics, things like bots amplifying messages, maybe highly coordinated activity between accounts that look independent, or spotting machine-generated text or video. This is becoming hugely important with generative AI.
Okay, that first checklist seems really practical for initial flagging. So we've used first, we've identified the MDM type, but just spotting it isn't enough, right? How do we turn these observations into, well, actionable intelligence for a leader who needs to decide now? That brings us to situational insight.
Yes, and this is where speed and clarity are critical. You've got raw data, maybe lots of it, coming in fast. It needs structure immediately. That's why Resist uses the ABCDE framework.
ABCDE. Sounds like another helpful mnemonic.
It is. It's a standard for structured short-form briefings. It forces clarity, especially when you're under pressure.
So how do those 5 letters, A, B, C, D, E, structure the intelligence? What do they stand for?
They ensure you cover all the core elements of the threat concisely. A is the actor. Who's involved? Is it a known state actor, some domestic group, maybe just an individual going viral?
Okay, who's doing it?
B is behavior. What are they actually doing? What activities are you seeing? Is it inauthentic, coordinated? What are the tactics?
What's the action?
C is content. What specific message or video or image is being spread?
What?
D is degree. What's the extent of the spread, the reach? Is it contained in a small online community, or is it trending nationally, globally?
How big is it?
And E is effect. What's the overall consequence? Is it just noise? Is it causing polarization? Is there an immediate risk to public safety, or maybe eroding trust in institutions?
The impact. The actor, behavior, content, degree, effect.
Right. And the power is in that standard reporting format. A quick briefing becomes, actor X is exhibiting behavior Y to spread content Z to degree D with effect E. It cuts through ambiguity fast.
That clarity seems vital for the next step. Impact analysis and deciding what to actually do. Prioritization. Because you can't chase down every piece of junk online, right? You drown.
Exactly. Resource allocation is key. You need thresholds.
So what are those prioritization thresholds in Resist? How do we avoid, overreacting to something minor?
It's essentially a risk management exercise. Low priority means routine monitoring is enough. Intervention usually isn't needed, might even be undesirable. Remember, most MDM is actually lawful speech. Even if it's annoying or wrong, you don't want to amplify something trivial by reacting.
Right. Don't feed the trolls.
Pretty much. Medium priority is when something is trending, and it's starting to have a negative effect, maybe on policy discussions or organizational reputation. This needs a formal internal response plan, maybe sharing intel across teams.
Okay, it's causing some harm.
Yes. And then high priority, this is the immediate escalation point. We're talking significant risk to the public, national security, maybe immediate physical harm. This needs urgent attention, resources, senior leader involvement now.
And you mentioned FIMI earlier, foreign information manipulation and interference. Where does that fit?
FIMI automatically jumps to high priority if you suspect coordinated intentional interference, especially led by state actors or their proxies.
Why the automatic escalation for FIMI?
Because FIMI signals a strategic threat. You're likely dealing with a sophisticated, resourced campaign aimed at destabilizing things, democratic processes, public trust, critical infrastructure. It's not just one bad actor, it's potentially strategic warfare. It demands a rapid, often whole-of-government response.
Got it. So the stakes are fundamentally higher.
Correct. And because assessing these threats isn't always black and white, Resist also requires analysts to state their confidence indicators, low, medium, or high confidence in their assessment, alongside the priority level.
Ah, so decision makers know how certain the intelligence picture actually is.
Exactly. It acknowledges the inherent uncertainty.
Assessing risk like this, setting those thresholds, making sure teams apply them consistently under pressure, that sounds an awful lot like a robust compliance exercise.
It really is. It's about having systems and standards that hold up.
Which brings us back to our sponsor. For organizations looking to build these kinds of systematic risk assessments and ensure they are compliant, even when facing these complex threats, well, having the right resources is crucial. You can find tools for building these resilient systems at their hubs.
That's right.
And specifically for protecting audience data and maintaining integrity during your response planning, www.myprivacy.blog is a particularly valuable resource to look into.
Definitely important considerations.
Okay, so let's say the assessment comes back. High priority, big threat. Now we move to strategic communication. We've sized up the fire. How do we fight it effectively without accidentally fanning the flames?
That's the balancing act. The core principle Resist emphasizes is delivering the truth well told. Responses generally fall into two buckets, proactive and reactive.
Okay, proactive first. What does that look like?
Proactive preparedness is the long game. It's about building public resilience before a crisis hits. Think media literacy campaigns. The Montenegrin INFO campaign, based on the SHARE model, is a good example cited in the source. Or running public information campaigns to set factual baselines on important topics.
So pre-bunking, almost. Building immunity.
In a way, yes. Then you have the reactive responses for when a threat is active.
What are the options there?
Well, there's direct debunking, of course, but often more effective is using counter-narratives.
How are they different from debunking?
Counter-narratives focus on promoting the facts, the truth, the accurate context, but without constantly referring back to the original lie or harmful content. The idea is to starve the bad information of oxygen, not repeat it.
Don't amplify the myth while busting it.
Exactly. Other options include traditional crisis communications, or sometimes, and this is a strategic choice, deciding to just monitor only. If reacting might give an untrustworthy source undeserved attention, sometimes calculated silence is better.
The source material had that interesting case study, the HMRC side hustle tax example in the UK. That wasn't just a simple debunk, was it?
No, it was a great example of a layered strategic response. They actually used AI to predict that this specific piece of tax misinformation was about to trend heavily.
Predictive analysis.
Yeah. So because they had that early warning, they could pre-produce myth-busting videos before it peaked. And crucially, they didn't just blast it out from official government channels.
What did it do?
They strategically deployed the videos through trusted non-government voices, financial experts, people like Martin Lewis, who the public already trusted on money matters. They amplified the truth using credible third parties.
Smart. Combining speed, prediction, and trusted messengers.
Exactly. That combination was key to neutralizing it quickly.
That kind of success, though, it demands looking back and seeing what worked right. Which brings us to the final, crucial step. Tracking effectiveness. Closing the loop. If resist is the fire drill, this sounds like the pit crew reviewing the race takes.
That's a perfect analogy. And the evaluation has to be dual-focused. First, you evaluate the communication activities themselves. Did the message actually land? For this, resist uses the structured government communications evaluation cycle.
Okay, and what does that cycle involve?
It moves way beyond just counting clicks or reach, the simple inputs and outputs. It focuses heavily on outtakes and outcomes.
Okay, unpack those terms. Outtakes versus outcomes. What's the difference for the listener here?
Think of it this way. You launch a counter-narrative. The outtakes are about changes in the audience's heads. Did their beliefs change? Did they stop believing the lie? Did their trust in your organization improve? It's about cognitive or attitudinal shifts.
Okay, what people think or feel.
Right. Outcomes are about changes in audience behavior. What did they actually do differently? Did they start using official fact-checking resources you promoted? Did they stop sharing the harmful content? Did they take a recommended safety action?
So did the message actually change actions?
Exactly. If your campaign got tons of engagement likes, shares, that's an output. But it didn't actually change what people believed, outtake, or what they did, outcome, then frankly, it wasn't truly effective. You have to measure the real impact.
That's a much higher bar than just reach. And what's the second focus of this effectiveness tracking? You said it was dual-focused.
The second part is evaluating the response process itself, like scrutinizing the pit stop mechanics, not just the car's speed.
Okay.
You systematically review your own organization's delivery. How clear were the roles? How fast were approvals through the escalation chain? Were partnerships effective? Where were the bottlenecks?
Finding the friction in your own system.
Precisely. If the threat assessment was slow, why? If getting sign-off took 3 days, where did the process get stuck? Fixing those internal issues makes the organization faster, more agile for the next threat. This focus on learning and innovation is what makes Resist a true framework for resilience, not just a checklist.
The whole resist process, then, it's about systematically strengthening how an organization secures itself against threats that are just constantly shifting.
Constantly.
And doing that well demands those robust internal systems, security, compliance, data management, which, again, is why professionals really rely on specialized platforms and resources. We should thank our sponsor one last time for highlighting these critical areas.
Agreed.
For security planning, definitely check out www.cisomarketplace.com. For protecting audience data and ensuring ethical responses, www.myprivacy.blog is invaluable. And for making sure your risk assessments and internal processes are truly compliant, visit www.compliancehub.wiki.
Essential resources for this kind of work.
So just to recap quickly, we've walked through the 6 steps of Resist, the FIRST indicators for spotting threats, the ABCD framework for rapid insight, and that crucial evaluation cycle for learning. The big takeaway seems clear. Resilience isn't a one-off fix. It's systemic. It demands process.
And that system has to be dynamic, constantly adapting. That commitment to learning and innovation is absolutely vital because the threats, especially with AI in the mix now, they evolve so fast. What worked yesterday might be useless tomorrow.
Absolutely. Okay, here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. We've talked a lot about how organizations, governments even, need this rigorous evaluation cycle to track their effectiveness, measuring changes in audience beliefs, those outtakes and behaviors, the outcomes. So if they need that level of precision, consider this. What standardized metrics are you using personally to track the effectiveness of your own critical thinking, your own resilience against the flood of information you face daily? How do you measure your personal outtakes?
That's a challenging question.
Something to think about. That's a powerful thought to end on. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.